Hey guys, Amir Ryder here with the Transform Sales Podcast. We are on the sales software review, and I'm actually very excited about this review in particular because we are actually clients of CoSchedule, and I use it every single day. So these are the ones that matter to me a lot because I tend to typically learn from them. We are fortunate enough today to have our guest, Chris Paul, who is the COO of CoSchedule, along with his teammate, Isaac Olson, who is a sales executive. Thank you guys for joining.
Yeah, thanks, Amir. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for making the life of a marketer much easier because I was drowning in content, didn't know what to do with it before I found you guys. But I'm not going to talk too much because we want to hear from you guys. So maybe you could start us off and just give us high level. What is CoSchedule?
Yeah, CoSchedule. So we're actually a brand of multiple products. One of the products I think we're going to primarily talk about today is our marketing suite product line. But really, we've got a kind of a suite of products that are built specifically for marketers. Amir, to your point, really help them execute that content management, content marketing kind of pipeline overall. So it's specifically geared towards marketers. Could be an individual kind of solopreneur, could be an influencer, it could be a marketing team, it could be a Fortune 500 large marketing team, and kind of everybody in between. So have a few products out there. One of them is called our Headline Studio product line. As the name kind of applies there, really built for analyzing headlines, optimizing for SEO, kind of reach, voice, a lot of those different things. So kind of we see individuals using that the most. And then a couple of different, what we call kind of marketing calendar product lines. One for maybe a couple of different, 1, 2, 3 people, social media publishing, WordPress integrations, really organizing all of your content within there. And then you've got your marketing suite product line, which is definitely geared towards more like marketing teams. You could have a team of 3 people, you could have a team of 25 people, you could have a team of 200 people. And so a lot more kind of maybe product marketing work management there. But content marketing, social media, and really just, again, execution, very activity based, bringing all of your marketing to one place and trying to solve problems that we call, kind of makeshift marketing overall. So it's been good.
So you guys have been around for a while, right? How long have you been around?
Yes. Company was formed in 2013 as a small WordPress plugin. And really what we focused on there was just simply promoting blog posts through social media, right? So it's a plugin directly to WordPress, and from that point on, it's morphed.
Well, because I asked because we just talked about some of the problems that your platform fixes, right? And I asked because 2013 was like the beginning of content, right? Like YouTube just started, I don't know, 2010. But like, even if you look at what has happened in this year alone with ChatGPT and the rise of, I'm using like video.ai, I'm using Pod Squeeze, I'm using Opus.pro. So it's like you were fixing problems when they were manageable. Mm-hmm. I feel like now with the fact that like it's no longer optional to do content. It's no longer optional to have a LinkedIn profile, right? Like these used to be optional things, right? Yep. I feel like we found you guys at the right time because we found this explosion of tools. We're a marketplace. We have to create good content, right? So I would imagine that the problems you were fixing are now front and center for so many people, where you used to be able to ignore the problem, right? And you're like, yeah, we don't need to post that much. We don't need to track and measure this. We don't, it's cool. We got a page. We got a few thousand followers. We go to the Dreamforce. We go to Inbound. But like, I don't think you can hide from these problems anymore. So I think it's perfect timing. I think it's great timing that your guys' products have evolved, right? And I think that there's a lot of people out there to help, not to mention you already have 30,000 plus marketers using your tool. So let's get that up to 100,000. Yeah. That'd be an awesome goal. I think Isaac would be happy with that too. Let's dive deeper into that. And maybe we can focus, since your product is vast, right? I think we should, maybe focus on the marketing suite and really target maybe the bigger companies that are producing content all the time, if you don't mind. Mm-hmm. So like for the marketing suite, the bigger product that you have, what are the types of clients that you serve best? And this is not a trick question, right? I think a lot of times people listen and it's like when you say the word best, it feels exclusive, like you're excluding someone else, but you're not, right? I think for us, we're just trying to like focus in on at 80-20 rule, right? It could be best could be service, it could be software, it could be publicly traded company, it could be, I don't know what that is, but the listeners sure do want to know. So
Yeah,
what does that look like?
Yeah. So actually one thing, we're definitely more like industry agnostic, but in terms of the more so like the team, building this specifically for marketers. And so you could have different teams that kind of like flank the marketing team as an example, or like kind of marketing department. But to your point, Amir, if you pick kind of the 80-20 rule, 80% are definitely that marketing. You get some kind of marketing responsibilities within your team, your job duty, what have you there. And so another way to maybe summarize that too is I'm responsible as a person to produce some kind of content for the company, for the brand, for something there. And so content producer, right? Content marketer, social media, like all of those different kind of use cases or those, types of jobs, and then focusing on that marketing suite. But like I said, I wouldn't say that if it's one or two people wouldn't be as successful there, but it's definitely built for, again, probably the team of 2, 3, 4 people, all the way up to some of those big, organizations. But
I almost want to show my calendar. Like we're 12 people and it's like jammed with everything. Right.
Yeah. I've seen you guys are doing an awesome job.
So like, I guess to the question too, because it's like, this is personal, right? Like we had a problem when we found you guys, right? Like we were actively looking at the companies, we were in the space researching, right? We had too much content. Do you think that your best fit client is somebody who already has a problem distributing their content and measuring it? Or would your best fit be somebody who contacts you before they have a problem? And that's an interesting question, because I think the buying behaviors lean towards one side, and it's like, what would you like versus what happens is tricky. But
yeah,
if you had to pick one, what would it be?
I think problem. They've got a problem.
Okay.
They've got they've got some kind of and maybe they don't know exactly how to articulate that problem, but fundamentally there is a root. There's a root kind of problem there. And I mentioned this word earlier, but honestly, the way that we summarize this is, and Isaac can attest to this during, some sales meetings that he has, we summarize this by calling it makeshift marketing. And makeshift marketing is really defined as you are, again, responsible for all these different things. Maybe you don't feel like you've got a problem right now, but really under the hood, you've got 15 different spreadsheets, you've got 15 different tools, you've got emails galore, you got Slack up, you got all these different things. And there's not really a coherent way to, again, organize, bring all those things, bring all that work into one place with really the goal of producing, with the velocity that the company expects, the brand expects, with the quality that they expect, right? A lot of those things just get lost in the shuffle when you try to tie those things together, this makeshift marketing stack. So we try to really solve makeshift marketing, like those two words, try to summarize the picture, and that's our goal.
It feels personal.
Yeah. Yep.
We didn't have many spreadsheets. We had one monster spreadsheet. it was one big spreadsheet.
Yeah.
But
we got a visual of like what that looks like, in the sales room and some of the decks that we use. And again, Isaac can attest to this, that you literally just get cackles and laughs and screenshot little grabs, at that very moment, that people, they don't know how to exactly explain it. But when we show that kind of thing, then that's where I say people typically realize, oh, that is the problem, right? That is kind of holding me back from the goals that we have, as a brand, as a company, and it's holding me back from achieving, some outstanding traffic or lead results that you're really, trying to shoot for as a company.
Well, it used to be like a world where like your website was how you were judged, right? I think we live in a world now where people judge you maybe first with your content, right? Like there's a good chance that like before we spoke, you might have looked at my LinkedIn profile before you looked at anything else, right? And I feel like, people are going from like, yeah, like let's just post every now and then, like we support this parade or blah, blah, blah. But now it's like, it's that whole concept of dark social doesn't have to be so dark, right? I think people talk about dark social. Even LinkedIn has now a filter for dark social, which is like, we know something's happening. We're throwing it up there. We're getting buyers. Something has to be happening, right? And now for me, it's like you're making it more systematic and more professional. And I think it's this is an interesting demo podcast because I'm using it in real time.
Yeah.
I feel like, you also have your company has a different vision when your social, whether it's your blog, your newsletter, when they come out systematic and it feels like a well-oiled machine, it almost is a reflection of the service you're going to get from them, right? Like if I get an email from a company that's like, not to me, not targeted right, and I get like a weird poke. I'm like, if these guys aren't organized with how they show themselves to the world, how are they going to serve me, right? And I think that's why me as a CEO, or I raised the bell, being like, we got to get this together, right? So, you know, I hate answering some questions or putting feedback, but it's just so personal that it's hard not to. But yeah, I feel like you guys were early to the game, and I feel like the problem just 20x'd, right? Right in front of your guys' eyes. So I'm excited about what you build, because it definitely helps me and a lot of people that I know. Talk to me about what differentiates you from other platforms. And I was evaluating, by the way, Hootsuite, SocialBee, and a few others, and I posted on groups. I was in Facebook groups for like HubSpot partners. I go CoSchedule versus. Nobody could give me anything, right? They really couldn't. So like, what differentiates you guys from the competition, if anything? If you guys needed it, right? Maybe you're the only ones doing exactly what you're doing.
Sometimes we actually believe that we are, and maybe that's, you know, some of the hard part there about some of that reach. But I think a lot of the competition that we see is back to kind of that makeshift marketing. We see a lot of, you know, prospective customers come to us, or maybe even current customers, right? And again, they're using some single function tools. That's probably the best way that I think about it is they're using a Hootsuite. A Hootsuite's they're an awesome tool, deep social media management. That is the thing that they do. That's the thing that they do really, really well. And we do that, but then we also do, maybe we don't go as deep as them as an example, but we start stitching a lot of those different marketing use cases together, right? Like we start stitching together, hey, I need more so calendar visibility. I need some project management over here. I need some asset management, you know, over here. I need some marketing related to kind of SEO tools, you know, to help me optimize my content. I need to integrate AI, you know, into it. We bring all of those things, you know, together so that you can ultimately execute your marketing all within one place versus some of these different, you know, Hootsuite as an example, or other tools. Again, more so those are single function. You got maybe a couple people using them, you know, for that one very specific use case, but you got to jump to different tools, you know, across the chasm, you know, a bit to really complete all of your marketing.
You do. So can I drop an analogy that I kind of feel is appropriate? I feel like CoSchedule is what you would an output of if you had Hootsuite, SocialBee, and those kind of platforms had a baby with like Rike and Asana and a project management software. I feel like that would be CoSchedule, right? It feels a much closer to the revenue, right? Like I'm lining up right now our HubSpot campaigns with our CoSchedule campaigns so that I can literally schedule out my newsletter and my emails and everything, and directly measure those, the likes, the follows, impressions that turn into clicks and then turn to my campaigns. And it just feels, it feels like you guys are the ones living in that zone of where content meets revenue more than the other companies, right? Which is why we selected you guys and are excited to partner. So that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, that's good.
And it's not a Frankenstein baby.
No, it's exactly.
It's a very handsome baby.
Good. Thank you very much. Yeah, we put a lot of money inside.
Isaac, guess what?
Yes.
You've probably never done this before.
Just once or twice.
Demo time.
Yep. Let's do it.
Yeah, if you could share a screen, show us a little bit around. And for anybody listening, we're going to be using this out loud, right? So this is one of the tools where we're going to be like problem, results, solutions, and so you could ping us and ask us questions, because like we can't use every tool, right? There's 5,000 sales and marketing tools. We have zero chance of using every tool, right? We typically use the best of breed products, and we like to share it out loud. So anything you would like us to see, any questions, message us, because we're using it every day, and that's really the truth and reality. So, and you're going to see the outputs of the content, by the way. It's all going to be through CoSchedule. So, Isaac, the mic is yours. I'm going to be quiet, and let's see what you can do. Let me get this little demo banner gone. There you go.
Perfect.
And, we're ready.
Let's roll through it. So, yeah, really the main goal of this, like you guys have both touched on, is so many teams that we talk to, they'll list off 10 to 15 tools that they're using on a daily basis. And a lot goes into a marketer's day-to-day basis. And it's how do we come in and see these things in a holistic manner inside of one tool? So as we kind of pop around this today, you'll see we have marketing campaigns. Those are a huge part of CoSchedule. Essentially those larger form projects that a lot of teams struggle with visualizing those things. They could be product launches. It could be website launches, events, conferences. But really going in and saying, how do we visualize those things and keep all those things under one umbrella? So that's a big piece I'll touch on first inside of this calendar. So being able to see those campaigns, not only from that global, we call it that all calendar view, kind of in the top left there. But if we click into this product launch campaign, again, you can see that by the bar, the red bar spanning across a couple of weeks there. We click into that guy. That brings us to an entirely separate calendar view. And this is a little bit more simplified campaign. But again, the focus of this is how do we visualize everything that's going into this product launch, which is most times quite a bit. We can see projects, we can see timelines, we can see, specific tasks inside of here, contributors, task completion percentage, date range that it's spanning. So that's one piece that, again, just hitting on first year, those campaigns are something that a lot of teams struggle with using, say, just a social tool or just a project management system, because it doesn't bring in podcasts, emails, blogs, social, events, all those different.
It's not bringing in the full suite of content, white papers, updates. I can go. The list goes on. Exactly. We use them all.
Yes, you're spot on. So yes, those campaigns are a huge part, but also just having the autonomy, like you said, to have all of your different content channels inside of this overall marketing calendar. But then also going in and slicing and dicing a little bit. So if we just want to see a specific team, that's what these sub calendars are going to accomplish for us. So a lot of teams utilize those color labels, we call them, for teams, departments, business units. It could be regions, services, things like that. But the beauty behind these, if we come in, let's just see design related content, that's all we're going to see. And kind of continuing down that path, essentially however many colors you have, we like to say that's how many different calendar instances that you can have inside of CoSchedule. Almost different environments entirely.
This is kind of like one area too, where I hit on like just
we also found that feature really good for our meetings, right? Like when we had our daily stand-up meetings, we could really hone in on like, what is the team for remote candidates doing and what's on deck? What is the team for sales agencies doing? What's on deck? What's the team for? It's just an easy way to also help us run meetings. Keep going, Chris. Sorry. Like I said, I get excited.
Oh, actually, that was perfect. It's funny that you say that, because it was a similar use case or story. I was talking to a marketing manager here the other day, and he said, man, one of the big challenges I've got is I just can't really show my leadership what I'm doing. And so therefore, one of the challenges there is just like, I want to hire another person, but I got to first prove my output. What are we actually doing? What does that all look like? And it was so difficult. There were a bunch of different meetings on those things. This is simple as a click of a button here on, here's exactly what's going on. Everything here can be shared, read only as well, back up to leadership, really, really dynamic, with people here as well. So like just adding that visibility and that activity across the whole organization, one helps there at the most basic level, but then also starts to align really strategy there as well, right? In terms of like, is the brand on strategy? Are we doing the right things, in alignment to, what all these different departments or teams or people are trying to achieve, based on our quarterly objectives or whatever, you might have you. So just, it seems really simple, but just this view itself is.
No, it's not. I'm like, listen, I'm a CEO, you're a COO, right? So oftentimes we have an item line on our P&L. Let's call it like, for sales software affiliate revenue, right? Like if we're below our forecasts, we can quickly look at that category and see, well, what are we doing here? How many emails do we have? How many campaigns, right? And you could see a correlation right away where one revenue line is down because you're not emailing it, right? So it's just, it's ability to give you almost a bird's eye view in real time of like what effort is going in to generate top of the funnel for those things. And that's the lifeline of a business. So it's less, I think it's so much closer to the, it's not, it used to be like a like to have. It's no longer a like to have. It's like these things are driving revenues for companies. It's a black hole. How do we see it? So keep going. Like I said before, my wheels are spinning.
I love it. And that's actually a great segue into a few different, we'll just get back to the calendar, but a segue into a few different dashboards that we have inside of here, because so many teams have been resonating that with us and struggling with that. So, everything from, like you said, Amir, what are certain people working on? Hey, here's our team. This is called our team dashboard. So a lot of marketing teams have that weekly stand-up meeting. So you guys can pop in here really quickly and see everything that people have going on a day, a couple days, or a couple of weeks at a glance, and see all those things and you know exactly where a certain project is at with, say, Gary or Sammy in this case. So the really good use case to visualize everything that the team has going on, but also this table view and popping into the table view, and you can segment this really however you want, right? So go in and go into those color labels, go into your overall 2023 campaign view. What do we have going on with those things? Completion percentage, where exactly is it aligning with our overall strategy? And then being able to obviously filter this the exact same way as I just showed you on the calendar.
Yeah, and for anybody listening, it's a multi-level system in the sense that you have type, right? You got your blog, you got your podcast, you got your white label, you got your, and then you drill down to almost your label department, and then you have tags. So it allows you to go holistically out to the big picture and then zoom in to the small picture in seconds. And that's what I find. Like if you look at the side of those logos, right? Like you can clearly see that's a social post, that's a HubSpot blog, right? And so it's a website update, an email, and it's just putting all of this stuff together. And then you could quickly, as you mentioned with the label, all right, I want to see the design team, I want to see the sales team. So just, yeah, that's where I said that almost Frank, not very attractive Frankenstein baby between Asana and Reich was like, they do projects, but they don't automatically schedule. They don't automatically push to WordPress. They don't automatically push to LinkedIn. They're not automatically pushing to Twitter. They're not automatically pushing to Instagram. And that's where you kind of connect it to the actual channels themselves, right? Because you're also connected, from what I saw, also to HubSpot email, right? So like if you're doing marketing emails, they're there. You can see the results. So it's like tying this like black hole, right? That somehow I think a lot of waste is in. But keep going. I talk too much because, like I said before, we had like meeting every day on this.
This is good. I feel like you should do the demo here at one point.
I know.
No, if this
Next time.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait till you see our CoSchedule. We imported it. It took us 2 weeks. It's already like, and there's more.
That's good.
Exactly. Yeah. So just kind of popping down over on the left-hand side here. So we kind of went through this main calendar, table dashboard, team dashboard, but also this Kanban board inside.
This is a big deal, ideas, because so many of us have ideas and we write them on paper and we lose them, right? I love this feature because I'm an idea machine and I talk too much, but when I put them down on paper, they become great. So yeah, show us 100%. The ideas.
Yes. And you're not the only one. We hear that every single day in calls all day long. So they're like, hey, we have spreadsheets, we have Google Docs, we lose the Google Docs, then we have to start from scratch. So that's really how I pitch this idea board, this Kanban style dashboard, is giving you the ability to take things from the ideation phase. You guys are in a meeting, you're brainstorming, you're popping things around. Boom, let's just pop it into this. And you'll essentially have 3 different dashboards. So status driven dashboard, or project type driven dashboard, color label dashboard. So if you're going in and you want to plan out some content for design for 2024, it might not have a specific date, but we want to go in, we don't want to lose track of this. Let's just start right here. And then really, really quickly, once that kind of publication process starts nearing us, just drag and drop it out onto the calendar. So then you don't lose track of it. You can kind of continue on with that task management component, gather assets and draft copy. And then once that date comes, you can just hit the ground running. You already have that.
Do you mind opening one of these so you could show everybody how you can also collaborate with teammates inside? Because I found it really very helpful that you can have discussions and contributors. So you could just have it all in there. So you kind of, you don't have siloed messages in Slack and in this and a notepad, and you can really hold people accountable, right? That's what I liked.
Absolutely. Yep. So we can mention people for sure. Come in here, gather some assets. Let's gather some things. We're going to either bring those in from a Google Drive or a OneDrive or CoSchedule's internal asset organizer. So let's just use that as an example here.
That's really big on version control, right? A lot of people struggle.
Absolutely.
We struggle with version control. We use Google Drive. Like, what's the most updated version? I was asking all the time, like, is this the updated ROI calculator? Is this that? But here, it's like the version of truth, right? So it's kind of like, these are our assets. This is the new version. You don't need to ask those questions anymore.
100%. And that's really how we define our asset organizer as well. It's to bring those things into this asset library and to say, hey, we don't need to sift through a million different versions of these different files and you know different edits and things like that. This is the source of truth. We know these are good.
Oh, did he freeze?
I'm good. I'm here. Chris, you can hear me now?
I can hear you.
There we go.
It's back.
Good now?
That's on me. Yeah, we're good. You were saying
Perfect.
version control. We're good.
Yes, 100%. So that's really how we define our asset organizer, is the versioning control, so you don't have a million different files and assets out there. We know exactly where to find specific things like brand assets or logos and those things.
See, we missed that when I asked you what problems do you fix. It's also version control, right? Like that's another big issue as well, right? Yep. You fix the problem of ideas that don't get documented, don't get executed, don't get prioritized. You fix the problem of version control on content, right? There's more here. The onion. We keep peeling back the layers of the onion.
It's a deep product.
Exactly. Yep. So kind of just jumping around this, the quick glance at that asset organizer. So a lot of teams will, once I'm kind of demoing this, they'll say, oh, this is essentially like a content library. We can store assets, but also it keeps track of all of our projects that we've worked on. So we can go in and see how many times a specific asset has been used, or, keep success related assets or sales assets and PDFs, or like I mentioned, brand assets. This is everything for our brand as a whole. We know they're good to go. They're the final draft. Or we can
and to mention that it's not only a brand where you hold your content, it's where you can also add it to a social post, an email in 1 second. So you don't have to jump out of a system, right? You can take a piece of content, throw it on LinkedIn, throw it on Instagram, throw it on WordPress with a click of the button, so that you don't have that's where errors come, right? They come where you grab a thing and then you take it off and then you put it on, and it leaves room for error. It's also slow and inefficient, right?
Exactly. So kind of as you were talking about that, Amir, I just popped up how we're going to create a social message inside of here. So come in, if you want to do bulk publishing, right? You're going to publish it to all of your social platforms, or you just want to do, say, Twitter. We can come in here, gather those assets first off. That's going to be that asset library. We have direct access right into there. So we can certainly do that. Or we just released this just in the past, Chris, a week or so. AI inside of social. We're focusing on AI, and I'll let Chris talk about that a little bit more, but AI not only for headline and SEO performance, but also, essentially writing entire blogs, emails, and social posts now.
Mm-hmm.
This is part of that question I asked, how long you've been around, because what I noticed is that you give recommendations based on the 11 years you guys have been in business. So you're often telling me I have too many emojis. That's what you guys tell me a lot of times. You're like, too many emojis. So I noticed that you're also able to not only help with the writing, the newsletters with the Awesome Bay product, but you're using the data you've collected over the years to help people guide people into what content works better, right? I cut down on my emoji addiction because you guys.
Yeah, this has been a big use case. It's kind of Isaac goes through here and demos this, but this has been, just kind of to your point about ChatGPT, and then that really like kind of being that disruptor in the space on what is that doing within marketing as well. We've talked to and pulled a lot of different marketers, and I feel like this is probably the most requested kind of feature use case, that just tip of the iceberg, right? There's a lot of stuff we can do with AI, but hey, help me just write my social messages. Like that's a time consuming aspect of it. It's something I kind of, could outsource a bit, or just get a different maybe opinion, on how to write those different things. And how do we do that? That maybe differs from LinkedIn to Twitter to Pinterest to Instagram to Facebook. This social assistant that's all built within it will, take in consideration the profile that you got connected up there. Like in this case, Isaac just has Twitter, but if he changes that, if he goes from there, like if he multi-selects there, they'll take into consideration all those different platforms. And then it's giving you some prompts here, as well to kind of get started with it. And at the end of the day, once you get through this, it's a very easy, you click that little kind of copy button over there, and that'll, put it directly there in that social message. So in a matter of seconds, less than a minute, you can probably have all of your social, messages written for a day, for a whole campaign, for a big project. Like I said, within a matter of seconds, really.
Yeah. And I also noticed when you're watching, you can see where it says scheduled for 8:15, and then it says best time.
Yeah.
So that's basically CoSchedule suggesting the best time based on all the data it collects, right? To know when you can get the best reach and frequency, which I liked as well, because it's educational. If you don't mind, Isaac, could you hit the analyze button so you can maybe show people how, like, yeah, there you go, right? That's kind of like I like this because it's like a very quick way to give you a checks and balance where you kind of look at the you're looking at you don't have enough emojis, man. We got to get you some more emojis.
Yeah.
It's one emoji. You need one emoji. So, I'm a big visual person, right? And I think, positive sentiment, showing the text, it gives you this guidance that I think gives you ability to move faster with confidence. I think is the right way to put it for me, at least. And I like that. I like that. To me, it's something that I like. And I'm just, like I said before, I've been using this for a week. So it hasn't been too long.
Yes.
Do you want to show people maybe some of the reporting real quickly before we're going to have a lot of demos, and I'm almost tempted after you show that. I'm going to pull up my CoSchedule. I'm going to show what my calendar looks like for the day when I just got started.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of funny, but yeah.
Yes. So you'll essentially have a few different dashboards for reporting analytics inside of here. So these top three are more so focused on internal team reports. So things like, hey, a lot of teams struggle with, what did we do for Q2? What have we done for the first 6 months of the year? How do we show those things to leadership? Oftentimes it's a spreadsheet. It's a Google Doc. It's emails. Who knows where it's coming from? So pop into here, this project report, an example we have ready to go here. Show projects published in the last 3 months. So for Q2 here, this is all of the projects that we've done. Again, you notice those color labels like you talked about, Amir. Essentially those different segments, the tags, the project types, color labels, the owner. So being able to see those things, the dates assigned to those, but then also just sharing it. So schedule out that report. A lot of teams will say the last Friday of the quarter, we're going to send this out to our director's inbox. We don't have to lift a finger. CoSchedule automatically does that for you. So that's going to be the same. You can segment out these reports if you just want to see a social report or a blog report, any different content type inside of here. Customize those, add those filters, and CoSchedule automatically populates those out for you. So that'll look and feel very similar to this marketing campaign report, essentially just that list view of all of our marketing campaigns as a whole. And then the team performance report, this is going to show you really where bottlenecks popping up inside of projects, inside of these campaigns. We've heard a lot of use cases. They come back to us and say, we knew we needed another writer on our content team, but before CoSchedule was just a feeling. Now this actually shows us the data behind that. And we take this to leadership. Again, we share this report to them, and our writing individual or that team is doing really great work. They just can't keep up because we're overworked. We have too much on their plate. So some really cool insights on that guy too.
I need a lot more schedulers.
Yes.
I'll feel the pain too.
And then essentially just focusing on social too. These three will be, really a culmination of all of your social efforts. It kind of brings all those things together, whether you have 3 platforms, 15, 20 platforms inside of here. It's, hey, how are we doing as a whole? What's working? What isn't working? And then a lot of teams will gain value. And I'm sure, Amir, yours looks much better than mine because you're sending social out of this. But it'll essentially just show you those high level things again to say, hey, this is working really well, or this isn't working. Let's shift a little bit. So things like, when were most of your messages sent? When is the best time of day to send them? When's the best day of the week? Then you can use that best time publishing and scheduling inside of CoSchedule to shift your strategy a little bit. So some things like that, but also tracking engagement rate and then our top type of messages. So if video is really outperforming images or links, let's focus on those a little bit more. And hey, here's our top messages showing those different things and the engagement surrounding it.
And social networks change what they promote more depending on how they feel. You don't get a warning, right? But if you're tracking it, you'll have a head start to know LinkedIn is now favoriting video. LinkedIn is now favoriting text. Throw a link in there, right? Like you could see, if you can't measure it, you can't see it. And if you can't measure it, you don't really know how the changes are being affected, right? So it's like not knowing where the high tide mark is, right? And I think with your platform, you kind of feel like you have a consistent co-scheduling buddy. I'm gonna throw that in there. Never sleeping.
Yep, exactly.
This has been awesome. We're gonna have a lot more of these. I want to share my screen for 1 second to show literally what I'm like. This is literally 1 week of using CoSchedule. You guys see my screen? This is like nothing. This is like what our day looks like. And before we had this, you can imagine the issues I had keeping up with all the campaigns we had, right? I still have blog idea spreadsheets. Like, look, they're growing. It's just hilarious, right? And this is us just getting started on that. And yeah, analytics. Let's see what I got on social engagement. Let's see what's going on. Oh, I got to connect social. So I got a 3.9 engagement rate. I don't know what that means yet because I haven't dived into it, but we're definitely putting some stuff out there and getting some feedback. And yeah, I like I said before, I'm excited about it because I'm a user of your product. I feel the problem, right? I'm working on the solution with your technology, and it's very comfortable for me to share out loud, and it's very comfortable for me to be like, yeah, I can admit it. I had a problem with content. I didn't know, I can admit my problems, and you guys, like I said before, I think that the problems you guys were solving can't be ignored anymore. And I also think that it's not just for marketers, because I also believe that sales teams have to produce content now, and it's not a choice anymore. And I think you're going to have a wave of SDRs and SDR teams that are going to use CoSchedule, because phones and emails, they're getting tracked in other softwares. You can't track their social posts. So there's a push now where it's like SDRs are starting to be under marketing, which I think they should be. So I think that your target market of audience of who you're helping is going to expand, right? So I really appreciate what you guys are doing. I'm going to probably be pushing you guys for product updates and stuff like that, because I'm going to be driving this thing to the max. For anybody who wants to connect with you guys, learn more about you, of course, the listing to your product in our marketplace is going to be in here. But anybody wants to learn from you guys, jam with you guys, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Yeah, our website has a ton of information. CoSchedule.com would be a great, just to go into it. Within there's a couple of different like marketing resources, depending kind of what you're looking to learn. Are you looking to kind of level up with your marketing? There are a bunch of free tools, bunch of free resources there that you can start to tap into. Take a look at the top banner. I think there's just marketing resources, basically as a slug out there. And then there's also our support channels all out there as well. So feel free, to do that. And I know Isaac and I are both on LinkedIn here as well. So I don't know if you want to share, feel free to share our profiles there as well. But bunch of different ways.
You'll be tagged.
Yeah. Bunch of different ways to get in contact with us, and we'll try to make it easy.
And by the way, I downloaded your resources, and they're on they're on the calendar scheduled to be broadcasted. So
yep, that's perfect.
I didn't read them all because I have ADHD, so I typically share things faster than I read them. But that's why it's just me and a little bit about myself. I'm a little bit crazy like that. Guys, thank you so much for what you build. Thank you so much for helping marketers get control over their content, get a handle on dark social. And you're going to be in the right place for all the sales guys and use your tools too. Everybody, thank you for tuning in to the Transform Sales Podcast, the sales software review with CoSchedule. Chris and Isaac, thank you guys. I'll let you guys go, but appreciate all the work you guys are doing. Thanks again.
Thanks, Amir.
See you, Amir.